I'm so glad to have you because rapid transformational therapy sounds like something a lot of people would like. Who doesn't want to be rapidly transformed? So please tell us, like, what did you learn from rapid transformational therapy that you didn't get from other modalities?
Absolutely. So I think the main thing that rapid transformational therapy as a method gives you is the fact that out of all of the therapies and counseling and other modalities that I experienced in my life, it's the one that really digs and dives deep into the reason why someone goes and sees the therapist in the first place. So before it starts giving you methods to feel better about whatever it is that you don't feel so great about, or resolving your problems or finding coping mechanisms, it goes into the personal story of that individual and tries to understand how they installed the belief that created the suffering. So it's really not a one size fits all kind of therapy. And the foundation is that you can't fix what you don't understand, which is something that I only found in rapid transformational therapy so far as a therapy
I,
method.
I love that because usually we hear it as either something is fast or it goes into the roots and it takes forever and doesn't make much progress. So the idea of putting these two together, I personally believe it tremendously. How did you learn this method?
I discovered the amazing Marissa Peer back in 2017 when I was going through some personal stuff. I find that a lot of people get close to methods of helping themselves because they are trying to fix something in their lives that is really making them suffer. And when I found out about Marissa, the first thing that really fascinated me, which I then found in your work as well, is this disconnect between two different parts of the mind. Um, and when the two don't know how to communicate together or hold conflicting beliefs, it's very difficult for a human like any of us to make sense of it and to make it work in a way that is productive and can create happiness in their lives.
Them down. I've got so many answers to so many of the questions that I've had for a long time. And I found your material whilst I was looking for the difference between cortisol and adrenaline. And I found the answer in your book, Tame Your Anxiety, which is great. Very exciting. But I think after going through all of the explanations you have for the happy chemicals that are at play for us in certain situations, and then the cortisol being at play in, situations of threat or disappointment, one of the questions that I had is what chemicals are at play, if any, when we are like truly relaxed, like chilling out without stressing out with anything like either happening now or anticipating stress from the future. What happens in our brain when we are in a state of actual like relaxation?
So good question. But there's two different ways of looking at relaxation. So a lot of people talk about a flow state where you're doing something, but you're enjoying it, which is different from, are you thinking about like just sort of doing nothing? That's what I'm not like. They talk about, like, for example, the flow state of a person playing basketball. So from the observer's perspective, he's working very hard, but internally, he's not worried. He's not self-criticizing. He's not second guessing or overanalyzing. And so they would call that relaxed. Whereas then a person watching Netflix and I just finished my second movie and then I clicked to start a third movie. That's a different, right? So what are you thinking of?
I was more on the second.
Okay, well, that's the kind of, not really the goal of relaxation is to just watch Netflix all day, right? I mean, a lot of people want to relax, but they would like to relax in a more productive way rather than just doing nothing. So if you've watched two movies and you click on a third, So like everything is a combination. So there's the expectation of a reward that you think the next movie is going to be good, but you also think getting up and doing something other than watching a movie is going to be bad. So it's always what you anticipate. So you anticipate that getting up is going to be bad because of what? As soon as you stop watching the movie, all the shoulds come into your head. I should be doing this, I should be doing that. But if I do that, I'm going to feel bad because I messed it up last time. I haven't done enough. And like you said, I'm not enough. And so all of your thought loops that are negative rush in as soon as you free up your mental workspace from watching the movie. And I'm so aware of this because when I was a kid, my family had the television on all the time. And before social media existed, before the internet existed, there was this slogan, kill your television, because people blamed television for all of the ills of society. And many people had it on all the time in order to not have to address their own negative internal chatter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. So what about when we're asleep?
Good question. Well, this is the gigantic issue about, are dreams random firing or are they your true concerns, right? And I don't know if I have a conclusion on that because my dreams are so senseless. I think everybody's dreams are so nonsensical. When you go to sleep with some worries on your mind, I think so the whole point of sleep is to clear the slate so that I could start tomorrow with my mental workspace empty so that I could have a new day. And in order to do that, how does your brain clear your mental workspace? Has to make decisions. Is this important enough for me to save or should I throw it away? So that's known. What's not known is in between saving it or throwing it away, is there this in between where you dream about it? And I don't know that, but somehow you know that whatever you go to bed with, you're going to make a decision. You're going to look at it and say, should I worry about this and save it so that like this helps me identify future threats, so I better remember it? Or is this not something I need to hold on to and I'm just going to let go of it? And so do not watch the news before you go to bed. Do not read an angry text from a friend before you. Don't do anything upsetting before you go to bed, and give yourself time to decompress so that you don't go to bed with all of this negative activity going on.
So you would say that during the dream, the brain engages chemically as if that stuff was happening in real life.
I think it takes little bits of stuff and then tries to make sense of it. But it makes sense of it without your human cortex online. So it just, it links it up in a way that doesn't make sense by taking some memory from 10 years ago and some memory from 30 years ago and just linking stuff up to just. So the whole point of the cortex is to find meaning by finding patterns. So it's like, oh, you did this once today and you also did it once last year. I'm starting to see a pattern. That's the higher intelligence. But when your higher intelligence goes to sleep and it's like it's looking at things you've deleted. I'm looking at your delete file and trying to make sense of them with my mammal brain, going through the delete file and saying, I'm going to make a story out of this, but it's a gibberish story. So how meaningful is that gibberish story? I don't know. Personally, I don't think it's important in the sense that, like, my husband, he was trained in this thing, like as soon as you wake up in the morning, you try to remember your dream and look for meaning in it. I don't do that at all because I find that dreams are stressful, and I just thank my mammal brain for keeping it in the delete file.
Thank you, Loretta.